This video is tailored towards people who want to know how to go from the motel room to the sweatshop as smoothly and efficiently as possible to minimize the amount of time it takes to get set up. I'll be talking about everything you need before you buy the sweatshop for best results, and also everything you need to upgrade it to the most ideal situation possible. And the final part of the video, I'll be breaking down every single expense and talking about what profits to expect on a weekly basis. So obviously the price will be different for everybody because you're going to be moving stuff from the motel into the sweatshop, but what I like to do is I like to place 4 grow tents here. It's best to assume you're using grow tents right away because it's the first thing you can grow in. And then what I like to do is I like to place 2 large shelves here, and we'll get a small shelf for the middle there. So what I like to do is I like to put the bed here because this gives me space for a mixing station and a packaging station. Obviously the botanist won't be using these, but if you would rather work out of the sweatshop than the motel room, then you can go ahead and jump crouch onto the bed and do all the mixing and packaging that you need to do. So I'm sure you already know how to assign an employee to start working, but if you don't, you just use the clipboard on your 9 key and you assign the bed, supplies, and the drying racks or pots to him. So what you need to do is you need to click assign pots and then just shift click all of these pots here, shift click all of these pots here, and press E. So we had to get rid of Kenneth. We had to let him go because he wasn't working, which was his only job, to work. So we had to get a new one. So while Deborah makes a mess in here, I went ahead and picked up another large shelf and a medium shelf, just so that you can keep around all your extra stuff. So obviously your product is going to be on this shelf, your supplies are here. I tend to let overflow product go straight there because it looks nice, it's all streamlined, and it just means that Deborah can fill up the shelves if she's been running this place by herself for, you know, a day or two. Now what I like to put here will be baggies, jars, any mixing ingredients. If I am doing any mixing, I just put this shelf here to hold on to all the upgrade stuff, which we'll talk about in a moment. So yeah, all the different YouTube guides for the most efficient sweatshop and most optimum builds, and not really suitable for someone who's trying to figure out how to make it good when they're just starting out. So this leaves loads of space. You can move around, Deborah can move around, you've got tons of storage space, everything is streamlined, and you don't even have to jump there. I didn't even realize that. And you can mix, you can package, all the stuff you need to do so that you can run an efficient operation out of the sweatshop just starting out. This grow tent, which costs $100, has been upgraded by spending $170. But what we have gained by doing so is with the LED grow light, the plants will grow 15% faster, and with the moisture preserving pot, it means the soil will lose its moisture 40% slower, meaning the botanist won't have to water it as frequently. You may be wondering, why did I get the second best growing products instead of the best growing products? And the reason for that is very simple. I really don't see the point in spending $400 for the suspension rack, the air pot, and the full spectrum LED grow lights just for the sake of some slightly better stats on your growth and moisture retention. Especially for the sweatshop. When you're getting into the bungalow or the barn and you're producing coca, it's a different story. But for a beginner, this is a really good place to aim. The only thing is that when you place this suspension rack, it's a little bit wider, its hitbox, than the grow tent, so you have to jump to get over the sink. Obviously that isn't ideal, but by the time you've upgraded it, I would hope that you've moved your packing and mixing operation into the bungalow where handlers can do it for you. So the fertilizer and the seeds by itself is an even $1,200, assuming you're going for Granddaddy Purple. Meaning that if you picked up this soil, it would go to $1,360 to supply 2 full rotations, or if you wanted to save your botanist some time, which personally I don't think is very necessary because this is an automated system, the price would go from $1,360 to $1,440 because obviously you're not buying 16 soil, you're just buying 8 and letting it last the 2 days that it's supposed to. And if you run the even more expensive one where it lasts for 3 days, you're only buying 8 but it costs $60, the price goes from $1,440 to $1,680. So this is actually the most efficient way to do it, but obviously you need to stock it up 1 soil per grow. But your botanist has all day, this is an automated system, so you shouldn't feel bad about working her to the bone. So the last thing I am going to do is I am going to grow 2 rotations of the Granddaddy Perp, and then we'll talk about how much we spent versus how much we made. And we have our first plant grown. She plants them like this, and it all looks very, very, very satisfying. She's harvesting it. I just wanted to check because we're getting 12 here, even though we're using regular soil, We're not using PGR, we're using fertilizer, but we're getting 12. So I believe that's got something to do with the moisture preserving pot and the LED lights, and it's just not listed in the item description, perhaps? Okay, so I just want to drop some maths on you real quick because I just rambled it all into the microphone. It didn't make any sense. You're moving in here, you're hiring a botanist, you're paying her for her first day, and you're buying 2 rotations of supplies, plus another 200 for her next day. That's 3,560. So we have set up our sweatshop with 8 grow tents, and we have stocked it for 2 rotations. We have harvested 128 flowers, sold them for $40 each, and earned 5,120, which completely covers our initial investment. Then we are spending an additional 1,360 to upgrade the setup, and we are spending another 1,360 to stock it again. Then another 400 for the next 2 days of work for the botanist. We then harvest 192 flowers and sell them for 40 each, and that equals 7,580. So for the first 2 rotations after you do the upgrade, you'll be profiting 4,460. However, every 2 rotations after that will only cost you 1,360, and you'll still profit 7,580, meaning every 2 days you will be netting around 6,220. Which is pretty much 20 grand a week. I bet you didn't think the sweatshop could pull those numbers. And there you have it. Let it not be said that I can't make a good guide for a beginner. Don't ask me to make anything super ultra efficient, but what I'm thinking about doing is a top 5 realistic mixes video, so let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments. Make sure to check out my Schedule 1 series where I go from $0 to $100,000 only selling OG Kush. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching the Onion channel, and make sure to subscribe because there is a lot of Schedule 1 content on the way.